In this video, I'm going to cover exactly how you can execute your gaining phase perfectly so you're still coming out of it bigger and not fat. People think that bulking is just eating more and trying to increase the number on the scale as fast as possible, and I honestly thought that too, but when I did it, I got really fat and I had to cut for way longer than I wanted. And if that's you as well, there's no shame, but we're not doing that again. You need to understand that your body can only build muscle so fast, so everything else above that pace is basically just storage. More calories absolutely does not equal more muscle. Some people even cope by saying that looking like an absolute marshmallow is just part of the process and you can shred later, and they might even use Jeff Seid as an example. And you might have seen this guy's physique online, but respectfully, I'm here to tell you that 99% of people are not coming out of their dirty bulk looking like this. And also, Jeff himself admits that he got way too fat, and staying leaner throughout the process is much better. So if your goal is to put on size, we need to go about this intentionally, so you're actually staying relatively lean enough to see progress instead of blindly gaining unnecessary fat. Before you add food, we need to be brutally honest and objective about your starting point, and we're just going to be using this as data. If you're already soft and fluffy around the waist, you don't need to push calories any higher right now, and honestly, if you're above like 15% body fat, I would recommend cutting down first. If you are leaner, you can add a small surplus without getting sloppy, and this is exactly why I use weekly mirror check-in and weekly scale averages. The pictures are like a feedback loop, and it's actually going to keep you grounded. And I messed this up before by underestimating my body fat and overdoing the calories, and I kept telling myself that I was just filling out my frame, but the photos, as you can see, they don't lie. So first, we need to find your actual maintenance calories range. I would suggest using an online calculator to get a rough number. It's going to ask you for your height, your weight, and your activity levels, but don't treat that number like gospel because it could still be slightly off. So track your scale daily and then take a weekly average to see whether you lost or gained weight, and then just adjust the calories accordingly, and that would be your real baseline. So if you're not super duper lean and you're sitting around 12 to 15% body fat, you can honestly just still maximize muscle growth through just main gaining, because you still have a bit of fat and you're not like stage level shredded to where your body fat is literally going to hinder you from maximizing muscle gain. Or you could do a lean bulk approach, which is just adding about like 100 to 200 calories and then watch the weekly scale average. Just make sure your performance and your energy also feels good and you're not gaining weight too fast. Another thing is, if you're in your first year of lifting, you're probably going to be going through your newbie or beginner gains, so you should expect to gain muscle a bit faster. So you might want to go for an increase of 0.5% of your body weight in a week, but then again, we need to take photos to accurately assess whether you're gaining fat too fast or not. This is also what I use for my clients, where I have the structure fully personalized for them, which you can find link in the description. And I'm not telling you guys that you absolutely can't gain any fat at all, because likely you will still gain a small amount of fat while on a surplus, but then again, the goal is to stay as lean as possible while trying to gain as much muscle as we possibly can. So yeah, don't feel discouraged if you gain a little bit of body fat. That's totally fine. You can just adjust that. We don't want to be getting to that like 18 to 20% of body fat range though, because that's when we actually start getting like quite fluffy. Another thing that I want to warn you about is don't look at the scale weight on a daily basis and really judge based off of that, because you could have like 5 to 10 pounds of water weight one day and then you lose all that the next day. And this is why like checking your weekly averages is much more important than daily averages. So track the scale over long term. And then this is basically the lean bulk approach instead of your typical dirty bulk. Small surplus, consistent training, and steady progression, because it keeps you lean and it keeps your training solid and it makes the cut a lot easier. And ignore those like brain dead people online who just tell you that you're victim weight, because this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Not everyone is meant to be near or above 200 pounds. Like what? For example, why would a guy who's like 5'5" ever be around 200 pounds if he wants to be lean? His body isn't built for that, compared to, for example, like someone who's much taller, like 6'2", who can easily reach 200 pounds, because that's what his body is naturally built for. So stop comparing your scale weight with others. If you're jacked as hell and also really strong, why does it matter if you're 200 pounds or not. We want to be relatively lean and not look like some absolute ogre. Now moving on to our actual nutrition, for macros, we want protein to stay around 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. And honestly, with the extra 100 to 200 calories, I would put that into carbs, which can really help boost your training performance and help you gain extra strength in the gym as well. So another thing I do want to mention is that your food quality still counts. When you're in a surplus, you literally have more room for nutrients. So why would you ever waste that on ultra processed junk? Like, I get it, I eat out sometimes with friends, have a meal or two, but keep the base clean most of the time. Also, clean food is a lot easier to track and it doesn't make you feel like crap, and it also keeps you out of the junk binge eating cycle, which most people do when they start a bulk. So keep your foods mainly clean, even your carbs. Like, I get it, you want to eat that sugary cereal, but rice and sweet potato is a way better alternative. And if you're looking for a pre-workout meal, I personally would suggest cream of rice. This is my go-to, which I think is a much better approach than just eating some sugary candy before your workout. Your surplus is useless if your training is random. Pick specific lifts in the gym that you want to progress in and just stick with them for the long term and focus on progressive overload. Just keep it very simple, very straightforward, and it makes even tracking easier. I would recommend tracking your lifts with maybe like an app or a journal, and we want this period to basically train as hard as possible and grow as much as possible because we have extra calories, so let's make the most out of it. And so the moral of the story is just that building muscle is slow and fat comes on and off relatively fast, but muscle does not. So keep your surplus modest, stay patient, and stay locked in for a few months. Have some delayed gratification. You don't need to get super fat, and you can look good now and you'll look even better later. So if you want the full setup I use with my clients, the link is in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.